Don't talk to me about nepotism being something new. It's been here.
Rob and I did not give Bronny anything. Bronny has earned this, right? Bronny talks about his hard work.
The NBA is full of nepotism, all of it. The ownership level, front offices, absolutely, coaching.
You know, I never thought about just playing with my dad, but of course he's brought it up a couple times.
Who do you want to play with?
Bronny is number one on my fucking list.
Their last names opened doors, but I couldn't keep them open. These NBA Nepo babies were born into greatness. Fathers who were legends, champions, and icons. Everyone expected them to follow in their footsteps. But instead of highlight reels, we got headlines about failure, lack of work ethic, pressure too big, or just not enough talent. What happened? This isn't just about basketball. It's about expectations, privilege, and crashing under the spotlight. These are the NBA Nepo babies who had the name but couldn't live up to it. Some people think being the child of an NBA legend gives you a straight path to success, and on paper it does. You get access to the best trainers, private schools, elite, AAU teams, and scouts watching you from the moment you touch a basketball. But when it comes time to actually prove yourself on the court, that's where a lot of NBA Nepo babies hit a wall. Take Zaire Wade, for example. His dad is Zaire Wade, a Hall of Famer NBA champion and one of the best shooting guards ever to play. Zaire grew up in the spotlight playing at high-level prep schools and getting national attention from middle school. He had everything laid out for him. Big-name teammates, viral mixtapes, his dad backing him all the way. But the numbers never matched the hype. He struggled with injuries, couldn't find consistent minutes, and when he finally got a shot in the GL League, which his dad partly owns, he couldn't keep up. His percentages were awful, and he looked out of place among hungry players trying to fight for NBA spots. Eventually, he wasn't even getting drafted into the GL League anymore. That's the reality with a lot of these Nepo babies. They're talented, sure, but the pressure is different. When your dad's name is on the wall of an NBA arena, everyone's watching you for the wrong reasons. They expect greatness off the bat. If you can't deliver, you're judged harder than a regular player would be. Zaire had talent, but he didn't have the game that fit the pro level. Flashy highlights might go viral on social media, but that doesn't win games. Coaches and scouts want skills, not clicks. And this problem isn't just about the pressure. It's about the environment. When you grow up with money in a mansion driving luxury cars, it's a different kind of hunger. You're not playing to escape poverty. You're not fighting to make sure your mom never has to work again. You're playing because it's the family business. That's not to say rich kids can't work hard, but for a lot of them, the desperation isn't there. That's where the contrast hits hardest. Think about the players who made it from the bottom. Guys who had to wake up at 5 a.m. to take a train across the state to school just for a chance at a better future. Players whose parents sacrificed their health and savings to pay for travel ball fees. Compare that to someone getting a roster spot because their last name opens doors and the difference becomes clear. So when we talk about NBA Nepo babies that failed, it's not just about stats. It's about whether they were built for the grind. Because the NBA isn't just about talent. It's about mindset. And if you haven't been tested, sometimes the league becomes your first real challenge. That's a tough place to start, especially when everyone's expecting you to be the next version of your dad. Patrick Ewing Jr. is another clear example. His dad, Patrick Ewing, is one of the greatest big men in NBA history. Everyone expected his son to follow in those footsteps. He had the name, the size, and the connections. But when Junior got to college, things didn't go as planned. He started at Indiana, but didn't get much playing time. So he transferred to Georgetown, the same school where his dad became a legend. People thought maybe that move would change everything. But even there, he was just a role player. He wasn't bad. He worked hard, played defense, hustled, and did what he could. But in the NBA, being just decent isn't enough. He got drafted late and bounced around between the NBA, the G League, and overseas teams. He had short stints, small chances, but none of it ever stuck. Not because he didn't care, but because his game just wasn't built for that level. It was solid, just not special. And when your last name is Ewing, people expect something special. He didn't have a reliable jump shot, wasn't a great scorer, and couldn't anchor a team the way his dad once did. He had effort, but not the the full skill set. Then you have Marcus and Jeffrey Jordan. They didn't just carry a big name, they carried the biggest name. Their dad isn't just an NBA great, has the greatest, Michael Jordan. And from day one, people were watching everything they did. Even in high school, their games were on TV, but neither of them stood out. Jeffrey played at Illinois and UCF, but barely got any minutes. Marcus was better and even had some solid college stats, but nothing about his game screamed NBA ready. He was a decent scorer in college, but undersized and not a great shooter. Neither brother made it past college. That happens to a lot of players, but most of them don't have the Jordan name. When your dad is known for his killer mentality and competitive fire, fans expect you to be just like that. But Marcus and Jeffrey didn't have that same edge on the court. Off the court, things were messy too. Marcus especially found himself in the news for all the wrong reasons, from wild nights in Vegas to getting arrested. It didn't help the image. Now think about Chris Smith, the brother of J.R. Smith. He wasn't a top college player. He had some decent numbers, but nothing crazy. Yet somehow he still got an NBA contract with the Knicks, and everyone knew why. His brother was already a big name on the team, and the front office was trying to keep him happy. Chris barely played in the NBA. He only got on the court for 2 games. And that was it. After that, no team ever gave him another real shot. He had no business being in the league. That spot could have gone to someone who earned it. The same thing happened with Keljin Blevins, who got into the league, mostly because he's Damian Lillard's cousin. Keljin Blevins is one of the most forgettable names in recent NBA history. And honestly, that says it all. He played college ball at Montana State, a smaller school that doesn't get much attention. His stats were fine, but nothing special. Nobody had him on their radar, and there was a good reason for that. He was an okay player, but nowhere near NBA level. The only reason he even got a shot was because of Damian Lillard. Dame was the face of the Portland Trail Blazers. He was loyal, respected, and carried that team for years. So when he asked the Blazers to help out his cousin, the front office did it. That's how Blevins ended up with a 2-way contract, not because of talent, but because of family. And to be fair, he didn't complain or act like a star. He kept quiet, did his job, and stayed out of trouble. But on the court, it was obvious he wasn't ready. He played in a handful of games and barely made an impact. He shot under 30% from the field and didn't start a single game. The fans saw it. The media saw it. Everyone knew he was only there because of Dame. And look, it's great to support your family, but when there are hundreds of players grinding in the GL League or overseas, it's frustrating to watch someone get handed a spot, especially when that spot could change another player's life. And that brings us to the Antetokounmpo brothers, Thanasis and Kostas. While Giannis worked his way up to become one of the best players in the world, his brothers found a different path. Thanasis is older and was drafted before Giannis became a star. He spent time in the G League and even played overseas. He's athletic, brings energy, and plays hard. But even when he joined the Bucks, mostly because Giannis was already the MVP, he wasn't getting big minutes. He was more like a cheerleader in a jersey. Sometimes he played solid defense or had a good hustle game, but it was clear he wasn't there, based on skill alone. Kostas, the younger one, had an even shorter NBA journey. He got drafted late and barely played for the Lakers, but still managed to win a ring in 2020. The truth is, neither Thanasis nor Kostas was a bad person or lazy, but they weren't NBA caliber players either. Their spots were more about keeping Giannis happy than building a winning team. That's the thing about nepotism in the NBA. It's not always about talent. Sometimes it's just about who you're related to, and it doesn't always work out.